Welcome to the Power Zone Podcast. It is Monday, May 29th, 2017. Happy Memorial Day. Well, it's not really Happy Memorial Day. Today, Memorial Day, we remember all those who made the ultimate sacrifice for those who lost their lives. Remember that freedom is never free. And having grown up in a military community and having members of the military in my own family, I know that first hand, second hand, really. But the Power Zone Podcast, May 29th, 2017, we've got a championship showdown. The Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers are set to go in the rematch again between Golden State and Cleveland. Of course, Golden State stunned the world this offseason by signing Kevin Durant away from Oklahoma City. And then what does Russell Westbrook, his former teammate, go out and do? He proceeds to average a triple-double, and he may very well win the NBA MVP award. And it's too bad, really, that the Thunder he scored 50 points in a couple of these playoff losses. And truthfully, Westbrook scored that many points seemingly every night because he had no help. I mean, he lost Durant, and then they lost Harden before that, and slowly but surely now it looks like Oklahoma City accidentally took apart their title contending team away and gave Harden to the Rockets. Durant signed away to Golden State. Will Westbrook stay? That remains to be seen. Should be an interesting NBA free agency odyssey. But as of this writing, taking a look at the current standings in Major League Baseball, look at the NL Central, and the Cubs are really, they're one game over 500 as of right now. They were losing to the Padres earlier, and the Cubs, they were losing early to San Diego, this West Coast road trip. And yeah, they're currently 1.5 games out of first, incredibly, but are only 25-24 in the young season. And they dropped the game 5-2 to the Padres on Monday. They'll play again tomorrow, Tuesday, at 9:10 p.m. Central Time. This West Coast road trip's always tough. And as we take a look at, and that was for the Chicago Cubs and their standing so far in the season. I mean, this team, the Cubs, they'll get it together, but they lost a lot when they lost Dexter Fowler to free agency. They lost a lot when they lost him. And the Texas Rangers, the other team I follow, they're going to be playing against the Tampa Bay Rays starting Tuesday night at 7:05. An ugly series against Toronto, where they ended up dropping every game but the final one, as Andrew Kastner did a good job on the mound for Texas. And take a look at the American League West standings, and the Rangers are currently sitting at third in the division, and they're currently playing Game 1 of that series in Arlington. So, another West Coast trip ending as they lost to another trip ending to the Blue Jays as they won yesterday's game. Bit of a mess this morning, bit of a mess this afternoon. All right, but so the top of the first we go. But I think Texas will be in the thick of things in the AL West. I think Pujols and Trout are dangerous in the AL West. LA always seems to play hard, especially against Texas when the division's on the line. So we'll see what happens the rest of the way. But I'm excited. I cannot get enough. even though my Spurs were eliminated by Golden State. The NBA Finals will not feature the Spurs. I've watched the Spurs win, watched them win every time. And anyway, I think I'm rambling on a bit too much. Here are some of my predictions. I know football season is a few months away, but I tell you what, I think that Dak Prescott, I'm going to agree with a lot of these professional talkers in the sports media world where they have said that Dak Prescott's going to have a worse season than he had in his rookie campaign. I'm going to agree with that. I think there will be a slight bit of a sophomore slump, and that's why if I was Jerry Jones, I would have tried to keep Romo around as a backup, but you can't pay Tony Romo backup money. He's going to be the starter in the NFL for better or worse, and he took his talents to the broadcast booth to join Jim Nantz in the broadcasting world. Another name entering the broadcasting world, Jay Cutler, former Bears quarterback, former Broncos quarterback, and he will be paired with Kevin Burkhardt for Fox. And that was the gig that Romo thought Romo would take. It'll be interesting to see what CBS does with Phil Simms. Will they cut him loose, or will they simply relegate him to number 2? It'll be interesting because usually your head athlete is the guy who actually hoisted the trophy. John Madden hoisted the trophy. Monday Night News, Monday Night Football team, John Gruden hoisted the trophy. Tony Romo wasn't for lack of trying for sure, never got to hoist the Lombardi trophy. And how many games will CBS and Tony Romo call for Dallas this year? CBS has the AFC television package, so he may only call a couple of games at most. And maybe 3 or 4 at the most. But it will be interesting to see what's going on, what will happen in that regard. So I've talked about the Cowboys, talked about the Cubs, mentioned the Rangers, and I did go to one Ranger game this year. It was a spring training game. The Rangers played the big league weekend in San Antonio against the Cleveland Indians, who lost the World Series. Watched the preseason game from the Alamodome in San Antonio. Cleveland won, but preseason games, the scores are irrelevant. But it was a good, close, competitive game, and I believe it was like 3-1, the final. I don't remember the exact score. Like I said, the score is irrelevant, but I was there, and it was a fun time. Although watching the game in a climate-controlled 72 degrees was a bit of an experience. I wonder if anybody out there in Tampa that has ever watched a game from the Tropicana Dome, what is it called now? Tropicana Field? I can probably relate to that experience. But this podcast, the thing I like most about it, as I said last week, you can take it with you, listen to it in your car, listen to it on the road, listen to it while you're exercising, working out. It's really exciting to have a portable audio format where I can express my views in the sports world. And I might venture into a little bit of politics from time to time as well. We'll see what the podcast brings up. And I've talked now for 9 minutes, so I want to thank all of you for tuning in and listening to the Power Zone podcast for the week of May 29, 2017. If I get time, I might do this more often than a weekly period, but right now I think a weekly basis is good. And don't forget, Facebook.com/PZN Sports is where my Facebook page is for the Power Zone Sports, and you keep up with all the latest happenings in sports that way. And so I've been talking for long enough, but that is it, the Power Zone podcast for the week of May 29, 2017. And last thing I would say here, I've been playing Madden 2005 on the GameCube again, on the Wii, and I just forgot how much fun it was to use the hit stick, playing defense, so much fun. Power Zone Podcast.